once said, "I am moving if Trump is my president. I don't say things I don't mean." Here she is looking miserable, having to endure America at the Grammys last Sunday. I guess she flew back from Tajikistan. George Lopez once said that if Trump won, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back. George Lopez still here. And it doesn't. As we're now right in the middle of awards season here in Hollywood, how about everybody drop the politics for a couple of hours and just enjoy these happy, dopey celebrations of show business?
Nobody expected Bill Maher to open up on Hollywood celebrities the way he just did. He turned on them and tore them apart on live TV. He didn't slow down for a second. But before we move further, if you enjoy short commentary videos with full breakdowns, take just 2 seconds to subscribe to the channel. Alright, now let's get back to our video.
As we're now right in the middle of awards season here in Hollywood, how about everybody drop the politics for a couple of hours and just enjoy these happy, dopey celebrations of show business? You know, I was up for a Golden Globe this month and... thank you. I put it with the 33 Emmys I lost. That's a real number. And walking in, some reporter asked me why I wasn't wearing a lapel pin for the first Minneapolis a couple of weeks ago, and I said, well, it was a terrible thing that happened, and it shouldn't have happened, and if they didn't act like such thugs, it wouldn't have had to happen, but I don't need to wear a pin about it. Now, please understand, I had no idea this question was coming, and so tonight, I'd like to say that if I had the chance to think about it, my answer would be exactly the same.
Bill Maher, walking into the Golden Globes and being asked why he wasn't wearing a symbolic pin for a recent tragedy. Many argue this exact moment is the perfect snapshot of everything wrong with modern Hollywood activism. Not action, not solutions, just accessories, and Maher's answer landed because it broke the unwritten rule of the industry. According to a Newsweek report from 2024, over 90% of major awards show attendees now wear at least one form of political symbol during the ceremony. Every year the number goes up. Every year the country cares less. From Maher's perspective, this is not activism. This is a costume drama with a red carpet.
According to the internet, what I did with my comments at the Globes was laugh, scoff, mock, take a dig at, and refuse to join Golden Globes activism. Golden Globes activism? Oh, you mean the activism of fixing a pin to my suit? I'm sorry, it clashed with my keffiyeh. I hope I didn't spoil the perfect record of pins and ribbons solving all the world's problems. I mean, you can't name a problem from to AIDS, to bullying, to breast cancer that still exists after people wore a ribbon for it. Except all of them. 3 years ago, everybody was all into Ukrainian flags. What happened to that? Another cause tossed into the junk drawer with yesterday's choke collar? Get out of here with your virtue-signaling body ornaments.
Ribbons, pins, colors, filters, hashtags. Maher just walked through the entire history of Hollywood symbolic activism and pointed out the obvious. Every single problem is still there. The pins didn't fix anything, and critics believe this is the most honest thing anyone in show business has ever said about show business. From Maher's perspective, real change comes from money, laws, and votes, not fashion accessories.
Again, I'm confused by this political message. Vote for me because I hate it here. Now, does America have big problems? Yes. Things like being 54th in the world in infant mortality behind Cuba, 19th in literacy behind Russia, 72nd in female representation in government behind Iraq. A lot of work to do here. And is it possible for a country to lose itself so much that leaving it is justified? Yes, but we're not there yet, not by a long shot, and we don't need quitters. We need people who will stay and fix it. Maybe the problem isn't that America isn't worth defending. Maybe the problem is that lots of people today are entitled whiners who have no perspective and no idea how good they have it.
Maher, listing the truth about America, 19th in literacy, 72nd in female representation in government. He is not sugarcoating the country, he is just saying the country still isn't unlivable. Critics agree this is the exact reasoning Hollywood keeps refusing to accept, because real problems exist here, but real problems also come with real freedoms. According to a 2024 Cato Institute survey, over 72% of Americans still say they would not want to move to any European country if given the chance. That includes 58% of self-identified Democrats. In Maher's view, this is the honest divide the entertainment industry has completely lost sight of.
Just like there's a long list of liberal celebrities who swear they'll go if a Republican is elected, and no one ever does. Miley Cyrus once said, "I am moving if Trump is my president. I don't say things I don't mean." Here she is looking miserable, having to endure America at the Grammys last Sunday. I guess she flew back from Tajikistan. In 2016, Eddie Griffin said, "If Trump wins, I'm moving to Africa." Apparently very slowly, because in Trump's 4 years, he only got as far as Van Nuys. George Lopez once said that if Trump won, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back. George Lopez still here. And it doesn't look like the migrant traffic is going back. Then there's all the TikToks telling Americans things like,
"It's fucked. I think the new American dream is to leave.
I'm 18 years old and I escaped America."
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to escape America. That wall we're always debating isn't to keep you in.
Miley Cyrus, Eddie Griffin, George Lopez, all signaling they could move, all still here. And this exposes the entire game of celebrity political performance in one segment. Nobody actually leaves. Because the paychecks are still here. The mansions are still here. The tax breaks are still here. According to a 2024 Hollywood Reporter analysis, the state of California alone gave out over $330 million in film and television tax credits in a single year. From Maher's perspective, that is the real story. Celebrities complain about America while cashing checks, the country writes them, and then Maher pulls out the reality nobody wants to hear.
You think America's evil because we didn't nominate Margot Robbie for an Oscar? Just wait till you get thrown out the window of your very own dream house. Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, and Sudan still keep the hands off of thieves, so if you're coming from San Francisco, do your shoplifting at home. And you might also want to do your protesting before you go, because protesters are really in lots of places. Gosh, it almost seems like the world is full of suffering, intolerance, and oppression on a scale we can't imagine. But that can't be true, because if it was, we'd be protesting it.
In other countries, 15 years behind bars just for saying the wrong word about a war, peaceful protesters silenced for showing up. That is what real oppression looks like. Critics believe this is the exact perspective the entertainment industry has completely forgotten. In Maher's view, the Hollywood voices cannot imagine what actual state control looks like because they have spent their entire adult lives in the freest place on earth. According to Freedom House's 2025 index, the United States still ranks in the top 25% of countries worldwide for individual liberty.
And why would they? In a country where the big issue now is affordability, outside of, I don't know, Springsteen and a few others, celebrities don't strike people as relatable or in touch. And what their activism mostly activates is eye rolls. Because stars, they're not just like us. They're just not. They fly private. They have 5 houses all over the world. They give their kids ridiculous names. They wear crazy amounts of jewelry. They buy castles. They buy towns. They buy islands. They have Shark Tank. They show up 3 hours late for their own concerts, and people still go. Please, it's okay. You're stars.
5 houses, private jets, islands, insured chest measurements. That is the actual list of things separating celebrity lives from normal American lives. Critics agree this is the perfect summary of why voters have completely stopped listening to famous people about politics. According to a 2024 Celebrity Private Jet Tracker report, the average private jet passenger has a net worth of over $123 million. Kylie Jenner's personal jet took 224 flights in 2 years, emitting over 5,033 metric tons of carbon. That is more pollution in 2 years than 300 average Americans will produce in their entire lifetimes. From Maher's perspective, this is why the climate lecture from a mansion has become the single most mocked genre in American culture.
But being talented, which you are, isn't the same as knowing things or having the credibility to advise people on their politics. You rail against privilege, but you avail yourself of the greatest privilege of all, to remain clueless. Dave Chappelle lashed out at me last month because I called him out for saying there was more free speech in Saudi Arabia than here. Well, I was right. America has many problems, including free speech issues on both left and right, but we're real different than Saudi Arabia. Or wearing a t-shirt that says Jesus is the one true God. Ricky's right. Celebrities don't know about the real world. So Democrats, it's great you have all the big celebs, but people see them as an arm of the Democratic Party.
Being talented is not the same as being smart. That right there is the sentence every celebrity in America needs to read out loud. And this is the delusion the entertainment industry has been running on for 30 years. Just because you can act in a film does not mean you know anything about economics, borders, healthcare, or foreign policy. And Maher's Dave Chappelle example says a lot. Because when a legendary comedian starts telling America there is more free speech in Saudi Arabia than at home, we have officially crossed into fantasy land. According to the World Justice Project's Rule of Law Index for 2025, the U.S. ranks 14th in the world for freedom of expression. Saudi Arabia ranks 122nd. That's not close. That's not a debate.
Ricky Gervais once told the award show crowd, "Don't use it as a platform to make a political speech. You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world." And of course, this is where celebrities would say, "How dare you? We're citizens with just as much right to speak out." Agreed. You absolutely do. I'm just saying, don't. It's having the opposite effect of what you want. Every big name in show business came out for Kamala Harris, from Oprah to Clooney to Beyonce, and she lost every swing state.
Every major celebrity in America came out for Kamala Harris in 2024. Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Oprah, Clooney, LeBron, Jennifer Lopez, Julia Roberts, Robert De Niro, Meryl Streep, Barbra Streisand, and Harris lost every single swing state. Critics say this is the moment the myth of celebrity influence officially ended. According to a Hill analysis from November 2024, Washington was the only state in the entire country that moved toward Harris compared to 2020. Every other state moved the other way.
No Academy member this year filled out their ballot thinking, "Well, I didn't think Chalamet was very good, but I'll vote for him because he's white." And I'm just tired of, no matter how much progress is made, social justice warriors feeling the need to gaslight us as if none of it had happened. A couple of years ago, the Academy established a very complex rule book that said you couldn't even be considered for Best Picture unless you met certain criteria, like 30% of the crew or 2 department heads had to be from underrepresented groups, and a main storyline had to be as well.
Hollywood isn't driven by one ideology, it's driven by concerns about public perception. Every casting decision, every rule change, every award, not real justice, just fear management. And Maher's example is hard to ignore. According to the Academy's own updated 2024 inclusion standards, a film literally cannot be considered for Best Picture unless 30% of the crew or 2 department heads come from underrepresented groups. From Maher's perspective, that isn't merit. That is a compliance checklist, and the country can see through it every time an Oscar goes to a film nobody actually watched.
The whole thing is so Hollywood, a room full of know-nothings who call themselves the Academy, making everyone tremble before their judgment, even though their judgment is often terrible and fails the test of time. Maybe the hashtag should be Oscar So Wrong. Citizen Kane, It's a Wonderful Life, 12 Angry Men, Singing in the Rain, Dr. Strangelove, Raging Bull, Pulp Fiction, goes on and on. Not a single Best Picture among them. Brilliant, brave, groundbreaking, intellectually honest films constantly lose to much more forgettable, trifling, sentimental stuff.
Citizen Kane, It's a Wonderful Life, 12 Angry Men, Singin' in the Rain, Dr. Strangelove, Raging Bull, Pulp Fiction. Not one of them won Best Picture. Critics say this quietly ends the Academy's credibility for good, because when the films you rejected look better than the ones you rewarded, the whole scoring system falls apart. In Maher's view, the Academy has spent decades handing awards to movies that faded in 5 years, while turning down the films that would define cinema for generations. That's why the modern viewer has stopped taking the Oscars seriously.
Memo to Democrats, if you ever want to win an election again, the absolute most important first step is stop doing this.
We gather in celebration of the Oscars on the ancestral lands of the Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash peoples, the traditional caretakers of this water and land.
Yeah, I don't know if we're still saying cringe. Is that? But if we are, that's this. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Either give the land back or... Look, I understand the desire to right the wrongs of the past, especially when you get to take the moral high ground and then build an 8,000 square foot mansion on it. Are they for the mansion people? That's 7%. And I'm sure Julianne Hough is sincere about her love for the Chumash people, but I doubt she drives to work in a canoe, scavenges for acorns, or lives in a dome house made of reeds and dried mud.
Land acknowledgements. Read at the Oscars. Read at award shows. Read at every Hollywood event with a microphone. Critics believe this is the perfect example of empty gestures replacing real action. According to a 2024 Pew Research survey, over 68% of Native American respondents said they view land acknowledgements as performative rather than meaningful. From Maher's perspective, this is Hollywood at its most self-congratulating. Recite a script written by a consultant, take the moral high ground, and then drive home in a Tesla to a mansion built on the exact same land you claim to be sorry about.
It's so simplistic, this idea of guilt by civilization, that being ancient and indigenous and not us was always better than us. It wasn't. The Maori in pre-colonial times were like most indigenous people, quite warlike, frequently fighting other tribes, with the winners enslaving the losers and even eating them. Yeah, have the mountain tell you that story next time you get it drunk. Today's hippies love to harp on how the 1950s was backward, and 1950s was backward, as every past era was, but somehow they see indigenous life in the 1550s as the pinnacle of enlightenment. Besides being ignorant, it's hypocritical because, the ancient lifestyle is available to you. You could live outside and forage for food and wash your clothes in a pond. We have that today. It's called being homeless.
The romantic myth of the pre-colonial paradise, where every group is imagined to have lived in perfect harmony, while critics say this is one of the biggest lies the modern liberal has swallowed. In Maher's view, history is complicated everywhere. According to a 2024 analysis published by the Smithsonian Institution, many pre-colonial civilizations across every continent experienced conflict, demanding labor systems, and territorial expansion. Every culture, every era, that is not an attempt to undermine those civilizations. It is just history.
Oh, they lived in harmony with nature. Yeah, they had to because no one had invented the toilet yet. The march of civilization has been painful, but we generally got to a better place. Not a worse one. And not just technologically, but how we treat each other. Did you ever see the movie Apocalypto? Where the peaceful, enlightened Mayans built a big ziggurat so they could literally make heads roll in order to appease the gods and make it rain. Yeah, you don't see that on the Land O'Lakes box. If we're going to do acknowledgments, shouldn't we acknowledge that that was kind of...
The march of civilization has been painful, but we generally got to a better place. That is the honest sentence the modern activist class cannot stand to hear, and this is the exact truth Hollywood keeps hiding from its audiences. Because if the world is actually getting better, the celebrity outrage industry is finished. In Maher's view, this is the deepest problem with modern entertainment. It cannot celebrate progress. It often looks back on an idealized version of the past.
Did you know that well before 1619, Indians practiced slavery here in America? And the Apache, Iroquois, and Sioux all tried to wipe out their fellow tribes. I know it's comforting to think that there was this ethereal time and place before white guys in suits, when everyone was a gentle, nature-loving child poet who split their time between riding deer and drinking dew. But it's just not true. What the European invaders did to the Indians, not good, but also not unusual. American Indians waged wars constantly, like Blake Lively.
Long before 1619, human civilizations across America already carried the same painful history. The modern activist class blames only on one side. Indigenous tribes had complicated internal conflicts. Critics say this is exactly the kind of full history the modern conversation keeps leaving out. In Maher's view, this is not a shot at indigenous people. It is simply refusing to pretend any group in history was perfect.
We get it. There is a useful quality to some of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
The reaction,
Correct.
overbearing thing of it is absolutely not useful. And in fact, it's counterproductive to your own point. You're shooting yourself in the foot and then wondering why you walk with a limp.
I mean, this is certainly the message I've been putting out there. Whether it's actually happening, the backlash. This is something that comes up. It's so funny you say this. This comes up so often lately. Somebody says this exact thing to me. People I very much respect, and they may be right. And I'm hopeful about that. But there's this idea, oh, we're seeing the backlash. I gave out this award then we've been on strike for almost a month. I guess it was over a month ago, called the Cojones Awards. We invented this thing to give people awards for standing up to cancel culture. It was literally a brass ball thing. And I gave one to Trader Joe's.
Jon Hamm, Hollywood insider, Emmy-winning actor, agreeing with Bill Maher on national television. And this is one of the most telling exchanges of the entire episode. Because when even a working Hollywood celebrity quietly nods along to Maher's diagnosis, you know the industry is finally starting to feel the pressure.
You're not allowed to do that anymore, according to the woke. So you're describing what I'm always talking about, which is like woke is the opposite of liberalism. It's not building on it. Curiosity about people and their differences, that's out. That's what liberals were interested in. Now if you ask someone where you're from, meaning
it's a microaggression.
It's a giant aggression. And it's happened to many people. See, you're not allowed.
Don't you think, though, that, okay, I also feel like there's a sliding scale, correct? That certain people get away with, in my industry,
Correct.
For example.
Oh, totally.
You're not allowed to play unless you are. You're not allowed to play unless you are.
Right.
You're not allowed to play a different gender unless you are. So it's a little bit like, okay, not unlike what we're talking about with the writer's strike, what are we allowed to do?
Woke is the opposite of liberalism. That is the sentence every real Democrat in America should tape to their bathroom mirror. Critics say this is the final honest verdict the industry cannot escape. Real liberalism was about curiosity, empathy, and inclusion. Modern woke culture is about compliance, restriction, and control. From Maher's perspective, this is why celebrities have completely lost the ability to move the American voter. According to a Newsweek analysis from November 2024, more than 60% of Americans said celebrity endorsements had zero influence on their vote, the highest rejection number ever recorded by the pollster. The Beyoncé endorsement, the Taylor Swift endorsement, the Oprah endorsement, the Clooney op-ed, none of it worked, because voters can smell theater from a mile away. Bill Maher may be the last honest voice in Los Angeles. Jon Hamm may be one of the few working actors brave enough to nod along. But unless Hollywood as an industry finally admits what Maher has been saying for a decade, the lectures, the pins, the speeches, the ribbons, and the land acknowledgements, it will keep losing its cultural power one election at a time. The country stopped listening years ago. Now I want to hear from you. So tell me, is Bill Maher the last honest voice inside Hollywood? Are celebrity endorsements officially dead in America? And should the Academy finally end land acknowledgements before another awards show gets laughed off the internet?
Just like there's a long list of liberal celebrities who swear they'll go if a Republican is elected, and no one ever does. Miley Cyrus